Days of Our Lives, spoilers for Monday, July 21st, reveal that Tate Black will have a clue for Rafe Hernandez while Javi Hernandez reacts to some awful news. Gwen von Lochner will also blast Leo Stark. So let's discuss all the Days drama that's looming. After Gabi Hernandez updates Javi on Ariana Ari Horton going missing, he'll do his best to comfort her. Javi will give Gabi a pep talk and hold out hope that Rafe Hernandez will save Ari and Holly Jonas ASAP. Gabi has already been leaning on Xander Kyriakis for support, but now it'll be Javi's turn to offer some comfort. The thought of losing Ari has almost been more than Gabi can bear, so she'll continue to fear the worst. Next on Monday's Duel episode, Ari and Holly's attempt to make a quick getaway will end in frustration. Days spoilers say Holly and Ari will remain in captivity, but Tate and Rafe should show up soon. Felicity Green found the ring that Holly intentionally dropped and gave it to Tate, so he'll tell Rafe about it before long. Since Felicity found that ring near the gymnastics place, Tate may think it narrows down Holly and Ari's location. Of course, Rafe is already a step ahead of the game since Kat Green came through after using her ISA connections. Now Rafe has a location to investigate, so Days spoilers say Tate's new clue will only make them more certain they're on the right track. While Tate and Rafe carry out the final phase of this rescue mission, there'll be more hostility happening across town. Xander and Philip Kyriakis will get into another heated confrontation, and they won't be the only ones. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Leo and Gwen have a showdown coming up as well, so stay tuned to watch their latest round of fighting. Gwen and Leo may be able to restore their friendship sooner or later, but it sounds like things will get worse before they get better. Time is running out for several citizens of Salem, as teased in the latest Days of Our Lives preview. Though their kidnapper was apprehended, Ari and Holly remain unaccounted for. And as jury selection in Johnny's case begins, and the trial inches closer, it looks like Marlena will either help clear his name or wind up fighting for her life. Doug III faces Julie to apologize for the trouble he's brought her and everyone else, and she lets him know, like his namesake, he has a great deal of potential. But why does it appear that Doug is leaving Salem, especially when Holly and Ari are still unaccounted for? Sophia gives Tate the shocking news that she had their baby, and she puts her big lie to the test. But will he believe her? EJ is desperate for answers as to who shot him, and Belle suggested an idea, if he was willing to give it a try. With little choice, EJ submits to Dr. Marlena's hypnotherapy, but while under, he appears to be in pain, and it's blocking him from seeing who he is talking to. That can only mean his subconscious is trying to protect him from the truth. What could be darker than his own son trying to kill him? Perhaps it was his mother, Susan? Freshly back in Salem, Gwen continues her tour of taunting citizens, and this week, Gabi is her latest target. As Ari and Holly try to escape the prison they are in, the way out could be a dead end for one of them. Finally, as Johnny's trial begins, time may be running out for someone in court. No, we aren't talking about Johnny, but his grandma Marlena. Read the Days of Our Lives spoilers to find out who makes Gabi an intriguing offer, and who may hold the key to saving Johnny. When the late, great John Aniston made his Days of Our Lives debut on July 19, 1985, he was already a well-regarded daytime vet, owing to his stints on Love of Life and Search for Tomorrow. But it was the character of Victor Kyriakis that transformed him from soap star to soap icon. From day one, it was a steady stream of schemes, manipulations, and dastardly deeds for Aniston's Salem counterpart, with a little humanity and love thrown in for good measure. The actor's first scene on Days of Our Lives took place at an auction where Victor bid on a photo taken by Kimberly Brady. The dashing yet mysterious tycoon quickly got into a bidding war with Kimberly's true love, Shane Donovan. And though Victor lost that battle, his war with Shane, Kimberly, and the rest of the Bradys was only just beginning, and would keep viewers entertained for years. While reflecting on Victor's status as a villain, Aniston mused, in an interview with the Television Academy, that he's had some transitions. He's tried to reform himself so he could nail down Maggie. Tried might be the operative word because, as his portrayer pointed out, the thing is, imkis, being too goody two-shoes on a soap opera is no good. Victor could certainly never have been accused of that, as even his kind-hearted widow wasn't able to stop him from pulling the strings of many an unwitting puppet. Just ask Kristen and Sarah, whose babies he and Xander swapped. He's had 5 wives, Aniston reminded his interviewer. All 5 have tried to kill him. That says something about him. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers reveal that Xander Kyriakis and Gabi Hernandez bonded over his daughter in the office recently. Xander had brought his daughter to work with him, and she was screaming bloody murder because she was upset. Xander was at his wits' end when Gabi came in and quickly took control of the situation. Gabi has recently discovered that her daughter, Ari Horton, did not make it to her hotel last night. Ari is supposed to be at Senior Lake Week with Holly Jonas. However, Holly's car has been discovered in Salem. Rafe Hernandez is on the case, so hopefully Gabi will have answers soon. Gabi will open up to Xander about Ari's disappearance, and Xander will offer her a shoulder to cry on. However, spoilers reveal that Gabi and Xander will find comfort in each other. Gabi and Xander will go far beyond their current role in boss and employee and end up sleeping together. This could certainly complicate things for them. Xander has been upset with his wife since she accused him of attacking his brother. Xander swears that he didn't beat Philip Kyriakis. Of course, Xander is lying, and Philip is covering for him. Sarah has kicked her husband out of their home, and he is looking for an escape. Will Gabi be the distraction Xander needs? Spoilers suggest that Sarah will find out that Xander and Gabi have gotten too close and will call him on it. Sarah even decides to go out with Brady Black, which will put her at odds with Kristen DiMera. This will certainly add a new aspect to Sarah and Xander's breakup and custody battle. Gabi recently mentioned that she always wanted more kids, but she never had them. Gabi and Xander discussed this after he helped him with his daughter. Will Xander be the man to give Gabi the miracle baby that she wants so badly? Will this be yet another issue for Xander and Sarah to fight over in court? Gabi would be thrilled to have another baby in her life, even if Xander is the father. However, Xander may be more than she bargained for if he finds out the truth. Will Gabi be able to keep Xander away from their child if this happens? Will Xander try to fight Gabi for their child if she ends up pregnant after their little tryst? Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Monday, July 21st suggest some major moments in the land of Salem. As a new week kicks off, 2 characters gear up for a rescue, while 2 more gear up for an escape. And everyone else is in fight mode. What's set to go down on Monday? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, July 21st, reveal that Tate Black and Rafe Hernandez will be on the hunt to save Ariana, Ari Horton, and Holly Jonas from their kidnapping situation. Will they find the ladies in the nick of time? Knowing how these guys operate, especially Rafe, the chances are good. Speaking of Ari and Holly, these young ladies aren't waiting around for their knights in shining armor to save them. They'll roll up their sleeves and save themselves. Ari and Holly are terrified about their hostage situation, and who could blame them, really? With that said, are they putting themselves in more danger by taking matters into their own hands? One thing's for sure. Chaos will likely ensue during their escape mission. Meanwhile, poor Gabi Hernandez will be distraught over this situation, and her cousin Javi Hernandez will help comfort her. Well, maybe not everyone, but Days of Our Lives fans will see plenty of face-offs during Monday's show. First off, Xander Kyriakis will continue to be at odds with his brother, Philip Kyriakis. How bad will their latest confrontation be? In other news, Gwen Rizchek and her ex-BFF, Leo Stark, will be at it again. Will they argue about the past? Or is there something else that's bothering Gwenny where Maddie is concerned? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Are you pumped about Monday's show? Comment below. Tune into the new Peacock soap regularly for all the drama, and check out SOS often for the best Days of Our Lives news, updates, and spoilers. Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest that Thomas DiMera has figured out that his dad, Chad DiMera, has feelings for Kat Green and has decided to play matchmaker. Thomas' last attempt didn't work because Kat had a meeting with Rafe Hernandez. However, Thomas has no intention of giving up. Thomas and his sister, Charlotte DiMera, like Kat. Kat joined them at the hospital fundraiser and even did face paintings for them. The kids have seen how much happier Chad is around Kat, and they like to see him that way. Thomas knows that his dad tries to be there for them whenever they need him, but Chad needs a life too. Thomas has made up his mind to continue to try to push Chad and Kat to spend more time together. Thomas feels that his dad has been along too long and needs a friend. Unfortunately, Jennifer Devereaux and Jack Devereaux do not agree. Jack and Jennifer don't want Kat anywhere near those kids or Chad. According to recent spoilers, Chad and Kat will continue to grow closer. Chad will soon end up kissing Kat, something he has wanted to do for a while now. Chad doesn't care that his in-laws have an issue with him and Kat. Chad is a grown man, and he is perfectly capable of making his own decisions about his love life. Jennifer and Jack were furious with Kat over Chad's ankle injury. Chad and Kat went skydiving, and Chad managed to sprain his ankle. Jennifer overreacted and pointed out that Chad could have been killed. Of course, this was melodramatic, but Jennifer was really concerned. Can Chad deal with Jennifer and Jack's meddling? Thomas may be a kid, but he has his opinions. Thomas may overhear Chad talking to someone about Kat and decides to offer his opinion. Jack and Jennifer have promised to come to Salem more often to keep an eye on Chad. Jack and Jennifer don't like Kat and are determined to keep them apart. Will Thomas be the person who gets through to Jack and Jennifer about Kat? Kat may have done some things that were not so nice when it comes to the Hortons. However, Chad has to forgive her, and it should be his choice if he wants a relationship with her. Is Kat exactly what Chad needs to move on? Do Chad and Kat have any hopes of being together if they stay in Salem around Abby DiMera's family? Come here for all things Duel. Come by often for Days of Our Lives news, spoilers, and updates. A new family member is set to bid adieu to Salem. Here's the latest comings and goings casting news from Days of Our Lives. Find out who the actor exiting is. Plus, if any popular stars from yesteryear are boarding the show this week or in the near future, and if any newcomers are joining the Peacock drama in contract, recurring, or day player roles. It's a wrap for Peyton Meyer. The actor, who began playing Doug Williams III in November 2024, is set to leave town this week after his character says a poignant goodbye to Susan Seaforth Hayes' Julie. His last air date is Friday, July 25th. Tina Huang pops back in as Melinda Trask. The attorney concocts a new scheme with Sophia on Tuesday, July 26th. Thaio Penglis returns as Tony DiMera on Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. He interacts with Cherie Jimenez's Gabi. Alice Halsey gets more screen time as young Rachel Black. She shares scenes with Eric Martsolf's Brady, Emily O'Brien's Gwen, and Martha Madison's Belle on Thursday, July 24th. It's double duty for Stacey Haydock. The actress resurfaces as Susan Banks on Friday, July 25th, to support her TV grandson, Johnny. Speaking of Johnny, with the character's attempted murder trial beginning, Carole Foreman has been cast as Judge Dabney. She'll be officiating over the proceedings. Carrie Christopher, as Thomas DiMera, is always a welcome return to Days of Our Lives. He's a reminder that the best child actors are those who can handle adult material, yet they also never make you forget that they're kids. That's why Soap Central is bestowing Performer of the Week for Days honors on Christopher. This week, Thomas and his dad, Chad, came upon Kat in the park as they were on their way to play catch. Not fully aware of the drama that had gone on between his dad and the woman who pretended to be his late mother, Thomas innocently asked her to join them. Kat begged off, but Thomas sensed that his dad had some conflicting feelings about the beautiful blonde. "Why are you trying to get rid of her?" Thomas asked his dad. Chad denied that that was the case, but on soaps, like in real life, you can't lie to kids. They're just too darn smart. "Seriously? Who do you think you're talking to?" Thomas knowingly queried his dad, saying the overly precocious attitude that we've seen young actors display. He's also got manners, so he asked permission before posing a question to Gwen. Once he received it, he politely inquired as to why Gwen was wearing his Aunt Julie's necklace, and he wanted to know why she wouldn't give it back to her. Out of the mouths of babes! The grown-ups, Chad, Gwen, and EJ, Daniel Foy-Regal, pointedly commented on how there was disagreement as to who truly owned the necklace. Christopher quietly read between the lines that were being spoken by the adults. We could see in Thomas's eyes that he knew something serious was going on. One reason we suspect we don't see Christopher on Days more often is that the young actor is working so much. He's got a handful of upcoming projects, including Spider Noir, starring Nicolas Cage. Additionally, he'll be seen in the theatrical release thriller Weapons, starting Friday, August 8th. In the meantime, we're enjoying Christopher's appearances on Days of Our Lives. Expressive, curious, polite, and smart. Christopher brings all these qualities and more to Thomas. As veteran Days fans know, Thomas DeMira was named after his mother's great-grandfather, the late Tom Horton. We can't help but think that the good doctor would have enjoyed his grandson's company as much as everyone in Salem does. Days of Our Lives sees E.J. DiMera is rich, but not enough to buy University Hospital. So, we want to talk about whether Vivian Alamain is the secret partner that helped him get his hands on Salem's medical center. And we've got some breadcrumbs. We've got some leak info. We have lots to talk about. We're going to dive into whether E.J. DiMera turned to somebody whose family adjacent to help him buy the hospital, or maybe that person brought him into the deal. And it could be an off-campus jilted Madame Vivian Alamain who supplied enough funds for his winning bid. Now, you may be aware that EJ's finances are under investigation by both the ISA and the FBI in a joint project with Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez leading the charge, if you're current on today's episodes. I know some of you guys say you just come here and you don't really watch. So, that's currently what's happening if you're not watching. Ever since E.J. DiMera won the bid to purchase the failing University Hospital, people have wondered how he did it. And it's one thing for Xander Cook to put in a bid. He has got the buying power of the combined forces of Titan and also DiMera Enterprises, the merged company behind him. But EJ, that hospital purchase would have come out of his own personal pocket. But even his pockets aren't that deep. And Shane Donovan told Kat Green she needed to come back as a ISA analyst and work with newly reinstated FBI guy Rafe Hernandez to figure out if EJ used dirty money to buy the hospital. And Rafe Hernandez, of course, just spilled the tea to Kat Green about EJ putting a doppelganger in his place and just a whole bunch of other schemes he's done. But following the money trail already, Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez see that EJ didn't have enough money of his own to buy the hospital outright. Plus, the hospital wasn't doing well on Days of Our Lives. It was failing, so it's not a great investment. There's the Versix drug that could bring in billions, but that's like years down the road. It takes so long to get pharmaceuticals out. So, I'm really wondering if somehow Vivian Alamain is involved, and she's working on this with E.J. DiMera, and there may be a third conspirator. So, obviously, Vivian Alamain is the mother of E.J.'s brother, Stefan DiMera, who is missing but alive. But first, before we dig more into the whole Vivian Alamain dynamic, I want to talk about E.J. DiMera because he's swamped right now. He's trying to exonerate his son, Johnny DiMera, from those attempted murder charges. And of course, right now he does not know, but he will soon that people are hot on his trail, digging into his finances. Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez. It looks like Patch might be digging into it as well. And they've done this whole retcon, which is a historical rewrite to make a current plot plausible if you don't know the word retcon. So the retcon has made Kat Green an expert financial analyst for the ISA, and Rafe Hernandez is a seasoned FBI agent. He's a former police commission, so if anybody can trace where the big check E.J. DiMera wrote came from, I think those two stand a good chance. So they need to figure out which rich Salemite has an agenda for the hospital and who might be involved. Who else in town could afford to throw cash in that big a pile to fund the hospital purchase? And not only who has that much money, but who it would actually be willing to work with E.J. DiMera, since he's the face of the operation, and he's, kind of one of the public enemies in town. It's clearly not Xander Cook or Philip Kyriakis. Now, you can't forget that Gwen Rizchek has a pile of von Lochner money. But I don't really see her having a reason to invest in University Hospital. But that's not to say that she's not entirely uninvolved. And also, based on Gwen's chat with E.J. DiMera, they don't seem to be in cahoots about any sort of mutual investment or business project. So, I think E.J. DiMera is the face of the plan, but not the finances behind the plan. Because remember, he had to play nice with the board members to get their votes, too. So, it wasn't just money. It was E.J. DiMera against stiff competition from Xander Cook, who was also vying for votes. And lucky for E.J. DiMera, Xander Cook was arrested for beating Philip Kiriakis more than half to death. So that cost Xander Cook a whole lot of votes. If not for that brutal attack on Philip Kiriakis and then Jada Hunter arresting him, Xander Cook might have won the vote. And of course, to make matters worse, Jada Hunter arrested Xander Cook at the hospital in front of people that either had a vote or that were very close to board members. So the board voted for E.J. DiMera. The hospital got the buyout funds, and even though Philip Kiriakis didn't press charges, Xander Cook never could get the deal undone. So, here's why we suspect Vivian Alamain might be the source of the money behind E.J. DiMera's hospital buyout. First of all, Madame Vivian Alamain is loaded. Second, she had close ties to E.J. DiMera through his dad, Stefano DiMera, because she gave birth to twin sons Jake DiMera and Stefan DiMera, who are E.J.'s half-brothers. Sadly, if you don't remember, Jake DiMera died at the hands of an armed mugger in July 2022, right after he proposed to Ava Vitali. And then, in October 2024, Vivian Alamain had her manservant, Yvonne, kidnap her other son, Stefan DiMera, outside the DiMera mansion. That's because Vivian Alamain didn't want Stefan DiMera to reunite with Gabi Hernandez. You know, Vivian Alamain thought no woman was ever good enough for her sons, and definitely not Gabi Hernandez. So Vivian Alamain forged divorce papers, sent him to Gabi Hernandez, had Stefan DiMera stuffed in a trunk, and forcibly deported to Alemania. So Vivian Alamain may want the hospital to secure a future for Stefan DiMera in Salem, and the medical facility with its research lab could be very lucrative, especially once the FDA approves the life-saving sepsis drug, Versix. Plus, Vivian Alamain could be involved with the DiMera's twisted mad scientist, Dr. Wilhelm Rolf, working on a new and improved version of the very dead patriarch, Stefano DiMera. So the summer-fall promo showed Marlena dreaming of being Stefano's queen of the night again, and Anna DiMera told Tony DiMera she thinks Stefano DiMera is alive, she meaning Marlena. So, I would be totally down for Vivian Alamain having Ralph shove Papa Stefano's memories into somebody else's head, like maybe his son Stefan DiMera and him coming back all evil, like a Stefano DiMera 3.0. I think we have to count Steino when they put Stefano's memories into patch as Stefano DiMera 2.0 plus. And I mean, gosh, have there been more along the way? So many versions. But Vivian Alamain may also want revenge on her surrogate son, Philip Kiriakis, to punish him for rejecting her after she forged the documents so he could steal half Xander's inheritance. And Philip Kiriakis didn't give Vivian Alamain the big payout she wanted, so she might have helped fund E.J. DiMera as a slap at Philip Kiriakis and his brother Xander Cook, basically so they couldn't have the hospital just to be petty and vindictive. And don't forget, Vivian Alamain was released from prison the same day E.J. DiMera was shot. Now, I know some people think Vivian Alamain might have shot E.J. DiMera, but I just don't see a clear motive there, and our very reliable leaker told us Rachel Black put a bullet into Uncle E.J. DiMera. But Vivian Alamain may be conspiring with him. You know, I could see her creeping into the hospital, talking to E.J. DiMera after he woke from his coma. And Vivian Alamain might have found out the hospital was for sale, decided to throw in with E.J. DiMera, because he's got the excuse to buy it, saying they just saved his life. Plus, our leaker told us Vivian Alamain may be conspiring with Gwen Rizchek. That's why she's so hyped up about moving into the DiMera mansion. Vivian Alamain might have plotted with Gwen Rizchek while they were both in Alemania. Vivian Alamain might have gotten Gwen Rizchek to agree to monitor E.J. DiMera and make sure nobody takes him down. So, Gwen Rizchek might actually be there to protect E.J. DiMera from things like Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez, and Patch trying to take him down. And our leaker said that Gwen Rizchek and Vivian Alamain would plot together, but Gwen Rizchek would be the front woman, because Louise Sell was not available to do much filming. So, that is one more reason to suspect Vivian Alamain could be E.J. DiMera's silent partner. What do you guys think? In the July 15th episode of Soapy, hosted by the bold and the beautiful's Rebecca Budig and Days of Our Lives star Greg Ricart, Hall opened up about the surprising start of her daytime TV journey. Before she ever stepped into Marlena's shoes on Days, Hall, 77, had a brief stint on The Young and the Restless back in 1973, playing Barbara Anderson. I was brought in to be Brad Elliott's backstory, Hall explained. But there was no there. Despite the limited nature of the role, she said it sparked something in her. It gave me a taste of wanting to be part of an ensemble. And I said to my agent, get me a soap. Her experience resonated with Rickard, 48, who shared his own love for working in the genre. My personal experience is once you drink the Kool-Aid of getting to do work every day, and just the character evolvement that happens when we're getting script after script, I just love it, he said. And I think once I started, I was like, oh, I will stay at this job or in this genre for as long as they'll have me. Recalling the experience on Soapy, Hall explained that during the screen test process, she noticed some familiar and impressive faces in the room. They usually try and have people not in the same room, she said. But I happened to see a couple women, and I thought, my word, look who's testing for this. Convinced she couldn't possibly be the top choice over those established names, Hall doubted her chances. Then came the unexpected call. She had landed the part. But instead of celebrating, Hall questioned the decision. So I knew, as actors in their craziness know, if they chose me, everybody else must have turned it down, she said. There must be something wrong with this part, so I'm turning it down too. And I did. 3 weeks later, her agent called, confused. Tell me what's going on here. You said you wanted to do a soap, Hall remembered him saying. She replied, but there's something wrong with it. I wasn't their first choice. His response was firm. Yes, you were. That moment shifted everything for Hall. Describing it as her you like me, you really like me realization, she finally embraced the role. I love that part, she said, and the rest is daytime television history. Her portrayal of Marlena Evans would go on to define her career and make her one of the most enduring stars in soap opera history. Looking back, Hall admits she no longer remembers exactly which actress made her second-guess herself during that audition. They were recognizable to me 40 years ago, she said with a laugh. Nearly 5 decades later, Hall's portrayal of Marlena has become one of the most iconic in daytime history. Over the years, Marlena has survived more than her fair share of outrageous storylines, falling out of a window, suffering from hysterical amnesia, being kidnapped, stalked by serial killers, impersonated by a deranged doppelganger, and most famously, enduring not one but 2 dramatic demonic possessions. What was your favorite Marlena storyline? And can you imagine anyone else playing the role other than daytime legend Deidre Hall? Sound off in the comments below. Got a juicy fan theory? Email amber@soaphub.com. It could be our next hot topic. After a week of drama in Salem, The Days of Our Lives spoilers for July 21st, 25th, 2025 tease the beginning of Johnny's trial, worries for Paulina, and Xander's surprising moves, plus so much more. Sophia wrote a letter to her son, then later spotted him in the square with Leo and Javi. Doug III made a deal with the thug that he would give him Julie's necklace instead of paying his debt. After Maggie saw Holly off and Gabi saw Ari off, the girls were taken at gunpoint by Doug III's thug. After Xander brought Victoria to work, Sarah showed up and they argued until Gabi walked in, and Sarah agreed to let Victoria stay at the office with Xander. After spending the night together, EJ and Belle started arguing over Johnny's case. Doug III posed as a Salem Inn waiter to sneak into Gwen's room and steal the necklace, but when she turned him away, he found the thug and confronted him about kidnapping the girls. Meanwhile, Holly and Ari tried and failed at escaping, then revealed to each other that they've both been involved with Doug. When Tate never heard from Holly, he asked Doug if he'd heard from her, and Doug told him he hadn't. Kristen agreed to let Gwen stay in the mansion. Xander struggled with the balance of being a businessman and a dad when he brought Victoria to work. Then Gabi showed up and calmed her down. Thomas invited Kat to play baseball with him and Chad. Stephanie came up with her pseudonym, and then when Kayla arrived, she found One Stormy Night on Stephanie's tablet and revealed she read the manuscript when it was passed around the hospital. Rafe met with Kat to discuss EJ, and that he had a silent partner who helped him purchase the hospital. Tate confronted Doug III, demanding answers to his growing concerns. The tension between them escalated, leaving the situation unresolved. Meanwhile, Holly and Ari feared for their lives as their dangerous situation became more dire. Gabi learned that Ari had never made it to the lake, sending her into a panic and prompting a desperate search. Belle and EJ began the stressful process of jury selection, each hoping for a favorable outcome as they navigated the legal challenges ahead. At the same time, Sophia spun a tale to Amy Choi, trying to manipulate the narrative for her benefit. The search for Ari and Holly intensified as those close to them scrambled to uncover their whereabouts and ensure their safety. Xander provided much-needed comfort to Gabi, who was distraught over Ari's disappearance and the uncertainty surrounding her fate. Meanwhile, Sophia got cold feet about her previous actions, questioning the consequences of the story she had fabricated to Amy. Tensions also ran high when Kat and Chad had an awkward run-in, further complicating their already strained relationship. Tate and Doug III sought help from Rafe,